Studies show people are consuming more media than ever before. This raises the question, who are these people? Does education play a role in the way people gather news? Do people without a bachelor's degree consume less media than those with a 4-year degree? A full 70% of Americans do not have a bachelor's degree. And as journalists, it's our job to reach out to every member of our audience and tailor the content to their interests. But this raises a question. How do people without a bachelor's degree get their news? What's their attitude towards it? And what stories do they value in comparison to those people who have degrees?
The average American watches 5 hours of television a day. We found that older people watch more TV than younger people do. According to a 2009 study commissioned by the marketing firm ARA Net, of the 1,000 people polled, 31.1% said they got their information from television news. Following behind were two other traditional sources, radio and daily newspapers, each with 19.4%, and the internet clocking in at 14.6%. In 1993, 58% of Americans read a newspaper daily. However, in 2008, only 34% did. Adults read the newspaper the most out of any age group, and a survey showed those with a high school education or higher read the newspaper more than those without a diploma.
After its start 18 years ago, 78% of American adults use the internet on a daily basis. The internet is now becoming a competing medium for news gathering. People with a higher education are more likely to use the internet to obtain news.
Within 30 days, 32.9% of people 18 and older who did not graduate high school, 60.9% of high school graduates, and 93.8% of college graduates accessed the internet.
From these areas of interest, we developed a research question. How do people without a bachelor's degree use the media as a news source, and what do they want out of the media?
After analyzing our research, we decided that media use not only depends on educational attainment, but also age, convenience, and comfort level. Age is a determining factor in how people stay informed of current events. There are 3 determining factors in media use. The first is age. Older people use television and newspapers to get their news, while younger people are more likely to use the internet. The second one is convenience. People will continue to use the media source they find convenient. They want to access the news quickly and easily. The last determining factor is comfort. Once people find a media outlet that they trust, they continue to remain loyal to that source. This applies to TV personalities who have gained the viewers' trust. From our quantitative and qualitative research, we form the following hypotheses. If people do not have a bachelor's degree, then they will more frequently use television as a news source. If people do not have a bachelor's degree, then they will consume less news than people with a degree. The younger someone is, the more likely he or she is to obtain the news from the internet.
As a class, to test these hypotheses, we created a detailed survey that questioned respondents on their demographics, their attitudes towards the media, and their media use.
Now we'll take a look at the results of the survey our class sent to a little more than 200 people. To our surprise, the survey indicated that educational attainment was not a strong indicator of people's media use. Age, however, had more of an impact on people's preferences for news sources.
However, age did not have a significant effect on whether people use the internet to get their news. The amount of people from each age group that used an online site to get the news varied. Therefore, we can reject our hypothesis that the younger someone is, the more likely he or she is to obtain news from the internet.
When comparing the results for those without a bachelor's degree to those who do have a bachelor's degree in question 12, how many days in the past 7 days have you used the following media, the two groups' use habits closely mirror each other with only a few discrepancies. As this graph of some of our survey results showed, some of our hypotheses about people with bachelor's degrees were proven true, namely that they read paper and online sites more. As you can see, 25.64% of those surveyed with a bachelor's degree read a newspaper every day of the week. That's compared to just 14.29% of those without a bachelor's degree. As technology changes, though, especially with newer technologies such as social media, the percent of people without college degrees who use that media more often grows, such as here with Facebook. On average, a person without a college degree reads that a little more than 5 days a week, the second most viewed news source for them behind television. When we broke down the results by age, though, some of the data got even more interesting. Just take a look at this graph of how our age categories read the paper. Those surveyed who are 65 or older read it almost every day, while those surveyed who are 18 to 24 read it at most 2 days a week, an almost perfect correlation that when a person's age rises, their habits of reading the newspaper do as well. Other news sources, such as online newspapers and other online news sites such as CNN or Google News, showed much more different correlations. In these, middle-aged persons, such as those between the ages of 25 to 35, read these much more often than younger or older people. Television seemed to have a different correlation. Middle-aged people, such as those between the ages of 50 and 64, watch television news much more than younger people. However, those younger people still watch television news fairly frequently. The biggest change, however, was in Facebook, a newer technology that, as one would expect, those between the ages of 18 and 24 read literally almost every day. However, those age of 65 and up rarely, if ever, use Facebook, an almost perfect correlation, showing that as age increases, use of Facebook decreases.
Although the survey we sent out did help put our research into perspective, there were a few things that limited the accuracy of our experiment. Limitations to our study are mostly due to the lack of respondents. We would need at least 400 people to respond to the survey in order for it to be more statistically significant and more representative of the general population. The vast majority of the people who took the survey were Caucasian. In order to have a more accurate survey, we would need to gather responses from a larger number of races and cultures. We sent the survey out during a major holiday. People may have been using their computers less during their holidays, especially since in our research we found many people access the internet more while at work. Trade schools and community colleges are generally closed for the Thanksgiving holiday, and they are part of the audience we wanted to reach the most. We were also only given a week to market the survey. If we had more time, we could have reached a larger audience.
So after we completed this research, what can we do with these findings? Well, journalists can tailor their content to the audiences that seek news through that medium. Advertising agencies and marketing firms could use our data on how age affects media use to target specific audiences in commercials. And if journalists make their material easy to find and understand, people are more likely to read it. Our research showed the convenience factor played a large part in the access of certain media sources.
Additional research that would help make our findings more useful would be qualitative research. A focus group would help us better understand people's feelings, attitudes, and thoughts about media as a news source. By having a group discussion in response to questions, we could see how ideas and opinions develop from interaction. People may feel more comfortable talking with their peers and open up about their views on the media.